YouTube, what is good? It's your boy James, and I'm back with another NBA talk video today. Because there is a pretty big trade that happened today that I felt like I really wanted to talk about. Because it's a trade that I predicted, it's a trade that I wanted to see happen, and it did happen. And that trade is that Detroit traded Jerami Grant to the TrailBlazers for a 2025 first-round pick. Now, I want to get this out of the way first, and then I'll talk about Portland. But the reason that they only got a 2025 first-round pick is because, first, Jerami Grant's up for some big money, and there is not a lot of teams in the NBA that can pay him that money. That's first. And second off, you can look at the Christian Wood trade and compare. Whatever you think about him, Jerami Grant wants to be a 1 or a 2 on a championship team, and consensusly, he's not that. Now, I'm not going to give my take on it because that's not what this video is, but that's simply the reason. You look back at Christian Wood, everyone said, oh, the Rockets got fleeced. They only got 26. That's just what happens when you have players on expiring contracts who need to get paid and players who think they might have a bigger role than maybe they should. Now, getting past that, I want to talk about Portland first because honestly, I don't have as much to say because their team is not set. When you look at the TrailBlazers roster, there's not a lot of people in their 10-man rotation signed to the roster yet. You've got Little. I'm just going to guess Simons is back because he has his team option. You've got Hart, and you've got Grant. Those are the 4 people on their roster that I can think of off the top of my head that are in that 10-man rotation next year. So honestly, there's not a lot to talk about. But I will say, first, you didn't have to give up 7, and you didn't have to give up Simons, and you didn't have to give up your own pick. In my opinion, steal. Jerami Grant is exactly what those Dame and CJ-led teams were missing. Now, I'm not saying if they had Jerami Grant, they would win a championship, but when you look at those Dame and CJ teams, it was cones. Everyone was cones. So, adding something like Jerami Grant is a great start. And they also have Josh Hart, who can both defend. And that's what I'm really liking about this direction, is you've got Nazir Little, you've got Josh Hart, and you've got Jerami Grant. Those are 3 good wing defenders, things that they were missing for a long time. Also, the thing about Jerami Grant, can put the ball on the floor, go get you a bucket, and he can shoot the 3 ball. So Jerami Grant, maybe he's not elite at all 3, but he's also not a superstar. A perfect fit in Portland. They didn't have to give up pick 7, or they didn't have to give up Simons as trade bait, and they didn't even give up their own pick. So, like I said, for Portland, I don't have a lot to say, but he's a great fit next to Dame. Dame was high on him. Dame's probably happy right now. And like I said, you still have plenty of money, and you still have pick 7. Now, it came out that they're still looking at OG. If they add OG to this team for pick 7, I'm going to have to come back on here and start getting hot because I might not have any video evidence on it, but I really like Portland next year. And my hot take is if you go out and see Portland win a playoff series next year, I wouldn't be surprised. Now, they need to make the moves that I think they should make. I'm obviously not a GM, but if they make the moves that I think they should make, they can go out and win a first round series. They can go compete in a second round series. Damian Lillard is that guy. He has a great wing defender next to him, and he's also got 2 other good wing defenders already on the roster. So for Portland, absolute win. You didn't have to give up 7, Simons, your own pick, and you brought in a great player and someone that Dame liked, so Dame's happy. Now I want to talk about Detroit's side of this because, like I said, Detroit got a little screwed over here with the whole contract and the whole fact that Jerami Grant wants to be a 1 or 2. They kind of got screwed over, and they should have traded him last year, but I don't necessarily blame them for not. But my thing with Detroit is this: you took no salaries back. You got that $20 million off the books. There's nothing coming back, and I have it highlighted down here. The Pistons now have $43 million in cap space, and to me, that's huge because to me, I want to see DeAndre Ayton suiting up for the Pistons. And now let's just talk a little more before I get there. The Pistons, ever since Troy Weaver came in, sorry if I got that name wrong, it's Troy something. Troy Weaver came in, he's been doing a great job. He hit on the Luke Kennard, Landry Shamet swap that also gave them pick 19 because they got Saddiq Bey. And Saddiq Bey put up a 50-piece last year. They have Isaiah Stewart, who's a good piece, but I don't think he's a starter in the league, but a great centerpiece. And then they have guys like Killian Hayes, who you would hope would take the step, but also people forget that when Killian Hayes was drafted, some people said he wasn't going to be good for 4 years. It was his first time ever stepping in America. He was a young kid. So Killian Hayes might be good for the first time by 24. It was just something that was kind of expected that some people don't give him credit for. They didn't draft him, and to me, expect immediate impact. But you're still going to have Killian Hayes off the bench. And for me, I genuinely think that they will land Jaden Ivey. Now, if they trade up or not, I'm not sure. But I don't see the Kings moving out of pick 4 as much as they want to. And I think they're going to select Keegan Murray. And if Jaden Ivey falls into their hands and they can sign DeAndre Ayton, you have something going. You've got Cade Cunningham, Jaden Ivey, Sadiq Bey, and DeAndre Ayton, who's only 23. And I think he can take a bigger step on a more of a losing team. But for me, Detroit, they said, hey, we are just going to get the money off the books. And I personally do think they did that because they're looking at a max contract player. And I don't think that's anyone else other than DeAndre Ayton. I think they would have taken back some maybe short-term salaries for maybe a little more value if they weren't looking at someone big. So I personally think DeAndre Ayton will be a Piston next year, and I think it's a great start to a young core. Sorry if this video seemed kind of weird. I have a horrible migraine, but just to recap, great trade for Portland. They didn't have to give up any significant asset and brought in a great defensive wing. And also, what I forgot to say about Portland, Chauncey Billups is their coach, and if he starts getting some good defenders out there, you're going to see some great defensive squads. So I'm just so high on this trade for both teams. Maybe you would like to see Detroit get a little more, but like I said, in the highlight, they have 43 mil, and I think they're looking to do something with it. And for Portland, they're just getting started. But other than that, that kind of wraps it up. I'm going to be doing off-season recaps all off-season. I promise I'm going to make a video no matter what, unless it's a trade that I don't want to talk about. But I thought this was a good start. Jerami Grant, great piece for the TrailBlazers, and for the Pistons, you have 43 mil, and I'm excited to see what they do. But other than that, please like and subscribe if you like these type of videos. I want to start a sports podcast, which I'm working on. Be out soon. Other than that, I hope you guys all have a wonderful day, and I'll see y'all probably tomorrow when we see more draft day trades.